Good evening. Welcome to the 815th meeting of the City of Laurel Historic District Commission. The qualifications of the members of the commission, the staff to the commission, and any consultants used on file with the city are hereby made a part of each and every application heard today. The guidelines and procedures adopted by the commission are also made a part of each and every application. Each application heard today is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing a precedent for other applications. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Chairman Hayes.
Here.
Mr. Clacoon. Council President Les.
Here.
Ms. Rambo. Ms. McSteeny. Here. Ms. Lubinecki.
Here.
Ms. Frazier.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2 is the approval of the minutes for the September HDC meeting, which we have a copy before us. Any corrections or additions or subtractions? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I have 2 questions, comments. I wondered, at the end of our last meeting, when we talked to the Laurel Arts Council, it doesn't mention that we explained that we would need to approve where art goes. And that seems like it was an important part, in the historic district, that they would have to go through the same process as everyone else.
We can add that in there.
Okay. And then with the staff approvals, I thought it was going to be a weekly thing. And I don't know, we got one email about it. And I don't know if that was...
So it's going to be a monthly thing before each meeting, several weeks before, when the list is sort of solidified, when they have the deadline, they reach the deadline.
Okay, so before the staff approvals are given out to the residents.
Correct.
Okay.
So that to clarify, so that they won't get their staff approval until we've seen it. Say, okay, that's right. Could the minutes perhaps clarify that a little bit? Because I think our concern was that by making it a monthly, Mr. Chairman, then that was actually going to hold up some of the people unnecessarily. So, because if somebody's doing it regularly, most, like the ones we just had, they could have actually proceeded, because then you would have sent them the staff approval.
Right. So then so again, 2 weeks out, once I send the email to everyone and I don't get any, concerns, then I let Brooke know, and then Brooke gives them the go-ahead.
She sends it out to them. Is that correct, Brooke? You send them out the approved request, right?
Yes, correct.
Right.
So once we've looked at it and okayed the in kind, that's basically we're giving our approval.
Right. I think we understand that. I think Ms. Lubinecki's concern is that if somebody came in Monday with, I want to paint my White House white again, we're not going to see it until 2 or 3 weeks. and we might be holding them up if we only do it
Well-
monthly was the concern.
There's a deadline for everything. There's still a normal deadline that people have to meet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're not going to.
I mean, I think our goal of
Change
having
that.
us do it was that not to impede the process.
Right.
Just-
Okay.
So I actually share Ms. concern that if it's going 2 or 3 weeks, we're adding to it. So that is there any reason that at the end of a week, or is that?
Well, because Brooke has to draw a line in the sand at some point. Okay. She has to codify everything, to get ready for the monthly meeting. She can't have everything being in a state of flux up until 4 days before the meeting.
I understand.
Okay. Am I missing something?
I think so. So the way staff approvals have worked, if I walked in and said I want to paint my White House white, I would, fill out the form and then you would investigate it. And in a week or so, you would send me an email that said, you're approved. Great, go ahead.
Correct. Most people are not in a rush.
Oh, okay.
I personally haven't had any issues with.
Okay. So it's not a concern that anybody has that.
Correct. And if it's an incident where it's an emergency, like a roof is leaking, we would go ahead and
Yes.
issue that.
Right. Okay. So time is not of the essence with any of these staff approvals, is what you're telling us.
Correct.
So a
Usually.
monthly thing would be okay. Okay.
Yep, Marge, let me
Does
just,
that,
there's always a provision for an emergency.
right.
Roof blew off, tree fell down. We still have that provision.
Right. No, I
Okay.
wasn't questioning that. It
And
was,
again, I'm just
you
thinking
know,
about the last 2 times I gave something to Brooke. Filled out the application, I gave it to her. 2 weeks later, it showed up in my mailbox. Because she was making sure that what I said what I was going to do that was in kind. That,
Right.
that's
Okay.
going to work.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
Then I move we approve the minutes with the one change.
Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve the minutes from Ms. McSeany and a second by Ms. Lubinecki.
Ms. McSteeny,
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes.
Council President Les,
Yes.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Chairman Hayes,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3, HDC 01-2019 for 535 to 693A Main Street, Patuxent Place, for approval of existing signs with new signs to match all signage on the building. This item was tabled on our September meeting, correct? Hello. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you again. Thanks for coming. So where are we at here?
The owners.
Right.
And I was able to get the signatures
Excellent.
from all of them.
Okay.
Great.
I'll keep you out of jail.
You too, right? I think that was part of the concern.
Or at least out of the courtroom.
That's
Out
right.
of the courtroom. That's right.
Okay. Great.
I like the picture you guys have on the TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going audio and visual this year. Okay.
Well, I would like to move that since you've gotten the signatures, we approve HDC 01-2019 for Patuxent Place.
I second the motion.
Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. McSeany, a second from Ms. Frazier.
Ms. McSteeny,
Yes.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Council President Les,
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes.
Chairman Hayes,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
How long do you think it's going to take to get all those signs replaced? Couple of months?
Be a couple months. I'm going to
Okay.
start right away tomorrow with
Excellent.
our sign company and start getting everything set up.
Excellent.
You guys want an update on anything as we go
Yeah,
along?
just I think when you get them all looking the same, it'll look very nice
Yeah.
down there.
Yes.
You're fine.
Outstanding.
Okay, thank you
you.
guys.
Agenda item number 4. It's HDC 009-2019 for 418 Prince George Street, submitted by Paris Thalheimer. Request to lay gray stone over existing 7-foot by 47-foot rock driveway. Driveway size will not be increased.
Well, okay. This isn't, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, isn't he actually requesting to replace the gravel driveway with cobblestone?
It's stamped concrete, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, the actual agenda item application says cobblestone, not gray stones. It's not gray stone over, it's not gravel, it's a cobblestone.
No, it is.
type of- yeah, okay.
Yes. And he's not here.
No.
There's a picture of it on the black and white picture. Yeah, that's stamped concrete.
And it says stamped concrete somewhere.
Right.
Oh.
So it's not permeable.
No, but it's not the full length of the driveway either. I think it's just the front section of the drive. Is this is just for the front section of the driveway, or is it for the whole driveway?
It's for 47 feet.
47
which I
back
think
of
is
the
The whole
house.
driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no other driveway like that on the block. Everything else is either gravel or 2 concrete strips.
Chairman, if I could. Brooke,
Please.
does this fall into the pervious, non-pervious issue? You're replacing a pervious driveway with non-pervious. I'll ask the question because I know if we've got a concrete, we can replace the concrete. But if I thought that if they were going to, if you're going from non-pervious to pervious, there were some requirements under state law now. I'm talking about the rainwater fee.
This is actually pervious to non-pervious, not non-pervious.
Pervious to non-pervious. Thank you very much. I'm not so. Can they do this?
That would be looked over by, I believe, Public Works. Be looking over that.
Well, I don't know whether it's. I don't know where it falls, but I do know that there's some requirement when you're going from pervious to non-pervious. Going from non-pervious to non-pervious, that's fine. So we have some that get replaced every now and then, but you can't go any wider and you can't go any longer. Since the applicant isn't here, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask we table this another time for the next meeting so that they can research that issue. Make sure we're not doing something where we end up in court again. Okay? I don't know what the answer is. I know that we replaced the driveway over on Montgomery Street, up near the Susan Roebuck house next to it. Didn't they used pervious when they replaced that
Yeah,
driveway?
they did.
Yeah, they used a pervious brick paver system. And I'm just wondering, since this is stamped concrete, it would seem to be non-pervious. So I'm going to suggest, Mr. Chairman, that we table it till next meeting. Let the staff do a little bit of homework, and maybe it's fine, and maybe the applicant will be here.
In addition, I believe, and this is just a piece of information, that through the Chesapeake Foundation, there's a program with the state that actually will underwrite a significant amount of the cost of a pervious driveway, which we might want to look into. It's like $4,000 or $5,000. I mean, it's a lot. that's out there for the state. I started to look into it, and then we weren't going to do it, so I didn't follow through. But the program, I believe, this is a couple of years ago that I looked at it, is operated by the Chesapeake Bay Foundation for the state. So it's under the
And I know I heard about it at a meeting with Mary Lehman.
Yeah.
maybe we were the same.
Maybe.
You know the one I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
and I didn't qualify because I'm on a plant. Because I thought about it.
You don't qualify because you're
Because it's on, because the water doesn't, it doesn't
So
have
it's gonna
time
run
to.
off naturally.
It's going to run off. It's
Oh.
not going to percolate down. So they weren't going to give me any money.
okay. But you know the program I'm talking
Yes. Water wise, water sense.
about. What or
Base-
something.
I can't think of what it was.
It says on this that the applicant would have a permit from FMPS. What does that stand for?
Fire marshal and permit services.
The fire marshal?
And permit services.
Oh, okay.
They would have to, they would have to go through all these
Yeah,
proper permit
yeah.
services to check what you're saying.
Yeah, and
then-
I think before we would approve it, we'd ask that you do that homework and come back to it.
No, I appreciate the input. So if you'd like.
Yeah, that's a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, Madam Secretary, we have a motion by Council President Les to table and a second by Ms. McSeany.
Council President Les?
Yes.
Ms. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. McSeany?
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki?
Yes?
Chairman Hayes?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Agenda item number 5 is HDC 003-2019 for 363 Main Street, submitted by Duong Lei. Request to move out front door to align with the existing building front. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Are you Duong?
Wife.
Duong? Okay.
Yeah, but he outside. I don't know if you need him to come in.
Okay.
Pull the microphone down a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. There you go.
So what you're asking to do is that a lot of the shop fronts on Main Street have like an indent like that. And you're asking to just pull that door up to make it a flat
Flat.
surface.
Yes, because we see the other property across the street, they have the shape, like flat
Right.
door.
Which,
Yes.
which property are you talking about?
Well, we have a mix on Main Street. So there are some storefronts that are flat and some that have that indent, and that's
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
please.
I did spend some time down on that section of Main Street to take a look at it, and with the exception of newer buildings like the brick building that was formerly the Leader Building there, almost all of the buildings have some kind of indent or where the window actually pops out from the entrance area. The number of flat ones, I think there's one flat one, and in fact, the ones all around that property are in fact have the indent in there, which I think is actually an element of the historic district, and
I
a
agree.
significant, substantial element to the look of that part of the street.
Yeah, well, I understand that there's a restaurant going in there.
Are you
Yes.
planning still to put the Vietnamese restaurant in?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. I would, but I because it's.
Like, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that would be a nice way with those two windows that are up front that you could have tables in there and sort of spotlight people that are eating there and make sure that they can be seen.
Right. Okay. Are you familiar with Olive on Main in the 500 block of Main Street?
I went from, I think, the 2 block. Yes.
Oh, well, so Olive on Main, the restaurant up there, has a recessed door. And I can tell you that when I drive by, I look and I can see if any of my friends are eating at the restaurant because they're sitting in the window.
Well, I actually walked took a picture of Olive on Main for exactly that reason,
okay, cool.
to show the fact that the indent works well as a way to show where people are eating. And I went down further on the block also. Even Rainbow Florist has still an indent in there. I mean,
What was the reason for taking away the indent?
The door is like narrow. It's not that big.
It doesn't meet the code.
Does the door
The
meet
door,
code?
the door does not meet the code. Is that correct? If I remember correctly.
We can look into that.
Let me interrupt.
Please.
Okay. It's been a retail store for a long time. And I don't know all the rules of fire marshal, but you've got this indent with a very small door leading into the space, and it may not meet the code. I'm just going to point that out. The fire code. He's got his own rules. The other issue, this space, there's a stairway that impedes into the available space for the restaurant on the right-hand side that goes up to the second story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Was there an apartment up there?
It's apartment, yes.
Yeah, it's an apartment up there. So it's not easy to do anything with that stairway, because if you do something with it, it doesn't meet the code. I'm just going to point it out. It's very narrow. The stairway that's shown halfway back, having been in this store many, many times over the last 50 years, that actually goes down to the basement. And the basement's what, got a dirt floor, most of the basement? Did you pour concrete in the basement? Are they pouring concrete in the basement? What are you going to use that for? Storage down there?
Storage, yes.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with the indents, because some of the buildings do have the indents that make sense. I'm not so sure it makes sense in this building.
Yeah, because that door, like it's it like this one.
Yeah,
It
it
goes
goes
like
very
this
narrow
way.
at the back. I'm aware.
Right,
Yes.
it's very narrow at the door.
Maybe a 30-inch door or a 28-inch door. I don't know. Okay, so, and this is not going to have a lot of tables in it, is it? How many seats are you going to have in this restaurant?
Maybe 40.
40. So it's a very small restaurant. It's actually
Yeah.
smaller than Olive on Main.
From 40 to 60, so we don't
Yeah.
know yet.
So that's a fairly large number, 40 to 60.
Huh?
That's a fairly large number, 40 to 60.
I'm counting.
I'm counting 23.
Yeah, this is going to be a small restaurant.
Are you putting additional seating further back or something?
The back we're gonna do kitchen, and we have like 2 room,
Got an
Two-
office.
two
2
room-
office room.
Right.
Yes.
But you think you're going to have about 40 seated?
My husband know about that better than me, but I think that from 40 to 60.
That's not, but Mr.
Yeah.
I mean, moving the door is not going to make a significant difference in that.
No.
No.
I know you were speaking about the size. Like if it is, as you're thinking, only 30, 28, typically an ADA door has to be 3 feet
Yeah.
wide.
They've got a real problem with this store. Because I remember when Blitz's owned the property. She told me that it was going to be, somebody's going to have to retrofit all that. Okay.
Well, but the potential still lies, if I may suggest, if I understand that they have to meet the ADA requirements to do that, but we're probably talking about a fair, by the time you get to the, in between that, where the front pop out is and where the current door is, somewhere in there we're going to reach 3 feet so that there would still be room to have an indent as opposed to a flat.
On the plan, this one, it shows a 3-foot opening, but that includes the framing, which would not provide a 36-inch door. And I also noticed that the door is shown opening in. And is that code in a restaurant? Yes.
That would I have to check with the fire marshal's office if there was. Typically, I think with those they are opening outwards.
Yeah, I think that would be a requirement.
So it sounds like Ms. Lubinecki was suggesting a compromise of sorts, that we not go all the way to the front of the building, but wherever we hit the 3 feet necessary requirement in that opening, and still leave a little bit of an indent to leave that historic profile that's always been there.
May I make a comment? They're showing all new glass and framing.
Mm-hmm.
For the whole front? Is that-
Yeah.
So it would be easy then to build that indent as
Yeah.
appropriate.
In other words, everything's new in the front except for the brick.
Yeah, the brick stay, but the front is like flat.
Uh-huh.
Right. But that's what we're saying, we, not.
If you
to-
don't allow
You have to still
the
keep,
indent.
keep a little indent in there,
Okay.
which would be, I mean, look across the street like to Rainbow. There's several of them where the indent is not huge, but it's there and it keeps the character of the indent.
Okay. So we can move the door a little bit closer.
A little bit closer to where
Little
you get
further
the
in.
3 feet.
Right. It's okay.
You know.
Because like right now it's like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
way.
Right.
But we
So
want a
it
little
shouldn't take more than a foot, probably,
Well,
or two to.
Or if
reach
you're
to the
rebuilding the
3
whole
foot.
thing anyway, you
Yeah.
can.
Right.
one thought is that if the door does have to open out, if you recess it back a little, you won't be smacking people that are walking down the street when other people leave.
True.
I think that's something I don't remember what the rule is about opening out, opening in. You may be right.
Commercial
I think
space,
she-
I think it is.
Well, I think that's something that,
So we can change it in instead of out.
That's up to code. I mean,
Right.
that's not.
So may I make a motion that we not allow this, and say that you need to come back with a new design that we think is to code and allows for the 3-foot door and keeps the
some indent,
indent.
some smaller indent. But right now, the indent's about 4 feet back into the space.
Do you understand?
Right. Okay.
I mean,
So
for-
we can still leave the indents, but move a little bit. Like instead of 4 feet, maybe right now we go with like 2 feet or
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right, but you need to come back with a new
with the new
plan
plan. Okay.
so that we can see it.
Okay.
Now, the door on the right, I say,
For the stairs.
yeah,
The blue door.
this door, will that stay where it is and
Yes.
everything will be the same there?
Everything will be
Okay.
the same. Only the restaurant. Yeah.
And I'm going to repeat, I don't think they want to mess with that. It's too narrow. Okay, it's like a lot of things on Main Street.
Yeah.
The stairway is very narrow, going up to a second floor apartment. And the fire marshal may approve it,
Mhm.
depending what they're doing upstairs. I don't know. We need to be real careful with that.
So what do we just?
So Margie has a proposal, basically, that we're not approving this particular alignment,
Are we-
flat
are we-
alignment.
We're denying the plan.
Or no,
Right.
or are we tabling?
Tabling?
Well, do you want to approve the plan with,
No.
No, the only request is the door.
is the only thing is the door, that they revise the door.
I understand that, but I would not want a plan to come back similar and have it a 6-inch indent. I feel like we need to see exactly what it is.
Well,
I'm not comfortable.
what if it was 2 feet? That's about half the space.
I still want to come back.
I
Right,
would
but the
still
problem
like them
is that we don't know what we don't know right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a wash, whether you table it or ask them to come back when they've got more concrete information about where that 3-foot mark is, and then about what's required in terms of the opening out of the door. So, I think we should just go ahead and get a second on Margie's proposal, and proceed.
I'll second it.
Madam Secretary, we have a motion to deny from Ms. McSeany and a second from Ms. Lubinecki.
Ms. McSteeny,
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes.
Council President Les,
Yes.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Chairman Hayes,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So you've been denied this time, but just come back with the two things, moving it, about some amount.
Okay.
But probably at least 2 feet.
It sounds like it's going to be at least 2 feet.
Okay.
And then make sure that you've got the door opening the correct way, according to code.
Okay.
And they'll be able to help.
Yes.
And
Thank
we
you
look
very
forward
much.
to you succeeding in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
we're
you very
looking-
much.
Very looking forward
Very
to it.
looking forward to
Oh,
it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for understanding. Agenda item number 6, HDC 015-2019 for 333 Montgomery Street, submitted by Catherine Peterson. Request to change color of Dutch lap vinyl siding from gray to sage green.
It's kind of
And
gray.
the shutters will also be updated,
Yes.
but in kind color.
Yes, I'd like to replace the siding on my house.
Okay,
I have samples.
please,
Excellent.
come forward.
This is the color.
Oh, okay.
And
Nice.
yes. One thing that's a little different than what I have right now is I'd like to put a white, just a frame on
Corner bead.
the corner
Yes.
pieces. Yeah, and that's
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And this is the shutter. Okay. Oh, so those two.
Yeah.
Well, you're showing the good part of the house. You're not showing the ugly side with the fake brick that I'm getting rid of.
Oh, didn't know there was fake brick.
It's like along the base.
Kathy, I'm gonna find that picture I have of that
Oh,
house.
there it is. Oh, I didn't.
When it was log cabin.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
I think I've said this
Is
to
it really
Kathy.
a
before.
log cabin?
That's one of the oldest houses on Montgomery Street.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Martin was born in that house.
Oh.
Well, he just recently died, born in the house. There was nothing from that house to the corner except the gazebo.
The band shell. They had
That's correct.
Yeah.
Sorry, I call it a gazebo, you call it a band. And the house was just the front of the house at that time.
What?
Well, the house, the rear part of the house was put on later on.
That
It
you
was
went like
just the
this.
front
Yeah,
part of the
I
house.
don't know about that.
Oh,
The
yeah.
I think
beams-
Kathy knows about
the beams
that.
in the back are
I'm
like
telling you,
this.
I've got the pictures.
I'd love to see it.
We'd love to see it, absolutely. Mr. Chairman, actually, I'd like to make make a motion that we approve HDC 015-2019 for 333 Montgomery
I
Street.
second.
Madam Secretary, we have
Wait a
a,
minute. Wait.
Oh, this is yours. I didn't pass it down.
that's okay. We have a motion to approve from Ms. Lubinecki and a second from Ms. Frazier.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes?
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Council President Les,
Yes.
Ms. McSteeny,
Yes.
Chairman Hayes,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you very much. Look forward to seeing it.
Have you seen that?
On to agenda item number
The
7,
back of the house.
HDC 024-2019
It shows just
for 330 Prince George Street, submitted by Herminio Galvan. Request to repair existing shed. New roof will be approximately 2 feet higher. Structure will remain white with new material.
Hi.
Good evening, how are you?
Oh, fine, thank you.
So tell us about your shed. So this is a new shed?
Or is it
Well,
repaired?
it's a repair,
Or is it
more,
a-
I think.
It's a repair?
No, there's a repair going what happened, a tree fell off on top of my shed
Oh, okay.
and knocked all the back wall down, the roof and everything. So what I'm trying to do, before there used to be a flat roof. And what I'm trying to do, I make the property looks a little better. Is why I went with the roof,
Put
the roof,
With a
on
pitch.
pitched roof.
and put one door on each side.
Okay.
Because this shed is, for some reason, they made it like that, divided in two sections.
If you look at the pictures, there's a picture there back from 1984 of a truck.
The way it
The
was
red truck?
before and the way it is now.
There's where the flat roof, yes. The flat roof came up to the pitched roof.
Yeah.
What he wants to do is just put one A-frame roof.
Okay.
I'm his neighbor.
Right, thank you. That's helpful.
Thank you.
Right, and this actually is almost invisible from the street. I mean, because it was actually hard
Yeah.
to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna put vinyl siding back in.
Okay.
Aluminum siding on it.
The one we have now is aluminum, but they don't make that one anymore. So
Yeah. It's
we're
density.
gonna go with vinyl siding.
Yeah,
Same
great.
color, white.
Okay.
No.
Please.
It is a repair. His whole back wall taken out, rotted out. You know that. I understand that.
Oh, got some picture also from many years ago, the way it was.
That's the A.
Well, the roof is what we changed and now
Yes.
because. Yeah.
It was already there, Dad. Yes, it was. The wall was already there.
No.
The wall was there. Got rotted out when the tree
Got some
fell on
pictures
that
from
roof.
1936 and this and they built the house.
You know how we take this? Roger.
See, if you look at that picture, you
There's the pictures over here. See, I don't know which
There
pictures
was
you
a-
took, but
there was
the
a
ones I
lean-to.
had over here, they're from many years ago. And the only thing I'm changing is the roof.
let me show you.
That's what it was in the 80s. Doesn't look like they're changing it.
Chairman, we're waiting for them to, let me ask, staff, is this an outbuilding or a
Here's the
garage?
pictures.
Outbuilding.
How close can the outbuilding come to the property line?
This is,
I know a garage can run right up
Yeah.
to the property
I
line.
don't.
How about an outbuilding?
I mean,
3 feet.
there really isn't
there
any.
isn't.
No.
Oh, I'm asking, I'm asking staff a question, that's all, Charlie.
3 feet.
3 feet. Thank you. Outbuilding has to be 3 feet from the property line.
So,
Garage can go right up to the
Need
property
one
line,
with that.
correct? If I remember correctly? Okay.
oh, here's the door.
It's got 2 bay doors. It looks like a garage.
But he's taking the double doors out and he's putting single doors in on each side. If you look at the, I'm trying to find the one picture of 1984. So
all right, the red one.
Are you showing the one with the red house? The red, which is it the one with the truck,
Yeah.
right?
If you look on that picture, see where that flat roof came up to the A-frame.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about. Are you talking about right here? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there.
There was a wall, that wall was already there where that A-frame roof is, and that flat roof came over. A tree fell on that flat roof, took out that flat roof,
Uh-huh.
and the back wall rotted out, supporting wall for that flat roof.
It's like a shed roof that was
Yeah,
put
like
on
a
it.
shed roof,
Is
yeah.
that what was? It was a shed roof that was originally on the structure.
Right, exactly. That came down to that wall.
Okay.
What he wants to do now, if you look on the drawing he has,
Right, and this is what you actually already started work here, haven't you?
well,
Yes.
stop.
way. So this is what it currently is, essentially. I'm sorry. This is what we currently have. Is that?
Yeah, where that flat roof is up.
This is this a drawing for the new one? And is this? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
This is your house?
Uh-huh.
Okay, is this the shed
that
roof?
was about to the house.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with our new
Oh,
construction.
no.
So this is the new,
Right.
this is what you're planning to put in?
Yeah.
Okay,
This is the repair that we're doing right now, the one on the left-hand side.
this side. This is where the shed roof was?
Right. See, what we did, we just went it straight to make it look a little better.
Mhm.
Give it a little more feet. Well, it was, it was better.
You can see where this wall is back right here, this wall right here. Wall was always there.
Was,
This roof
was sort of
line,
rotten.
this roof line came up to this roof. Flat shed roof that came off of this paved.
Mm-hmm.
What he wants to do now, he rebuilt his back wall. He just is bringing the pitch up, match this pitch on this to make one A-frame roof.
So the back wall was built, you say he had to rebuild the back wall?
Yeah, because it rotted out.
Right. So he rebuilt it in the same exact spot,
Yeah, the
which,
foundation's there. You can see
right, but which may not make code, from what I'm hearing, if it's not 3 feet.
But it's existing.
But not anymore, you had to rebuild it.
But the
There was a
foundation's
wall.
still there. How can
Right.
you, how can you
We should have
rebuild?
3 more feet.
The code question would be up to the code people, wouldn't it?
I would think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Foundation is made on current block.
What if we just say, well,
The code question would be up to permits, not us. We're visual.
This is not going to be a garage anymore. Okay, that's why I asked the question, because the garage setback is different than an outbuilding setback, Charlie.
I understand that, but on an existing building,
It's all new, Charlie.
That's
I'm
the
I'm
problem.
looking at, that's the problem.
Yeah.
all right, let me ask you this. We went with the same pitch roof, took the A-frame roof off and just went with what's there before. Do that?
Charlie, it's all new.
It's still.
You got a problem here. I think you have a potential problem.
I just don't understand. My understanding was with the existing grandfather.
Same wall.
The
Well,
existing,
the only thing that's existing is the concrete on the ground.
Yeah.
No,
the
and the
foundation.
foundation.
Well,
How high up?
The center block is 2 feet high.
So,
So this is not-
let me
that,
so
that
you're telling
pretty much
me-
means nothing
you're telling me
existed
if
except
a tree
the.
falls on my house, okay, if a tree falls on my house and my house was 2 feet away from property line, let's say like, you're saying if a tree fell on my house, I could not repair it, I would have a problem.
you're not
repairing
changing the
it.
function of your house. You have changed the function of this structure.
So
you've
if
got-
we say it's a garage,
you
Leave
check-
it the same way it is.
No,
there's a
hold
problem.
on. I don't want to argue about it. I asked the question because it's going from a garage to an outbuilding.
it was
Okay?
never a garage, it was always an out.
Right. He's trying to help you here.
Well, I just don't understand, I mean, very complicated.
Well, we're just looking at the letter of the law and explaining it to you. That's
Okay,
all.
so
We're not making anything difficult for you.
So what
It's
are we
things that
supposed to
exist.
do? You tell us then, what?
I think
what
that's
is
going to
the
be a
solution?
very nice garage.
Well, hold on. I think that the staff has to decide and then come back and tell us what's happening. And that's why I asked the question. Because we've had other places in the city where people have gone to put garages up, and geez, it was only 6 inches too close to the house, and they had to take a foot. I'm just saying. Okay? So all I'm saying is, you have a neighbor here who's raised an issue. I don't know whether it's too close or not. I don't know. That's why I asked the question. Because I do know from planning days that there is a difference in the setback requirement. Now, you can say it's not used as a garage. I've been there 40 years. There was a point in time where it was used as a garage. 40 years ago. So don't tell me it wasn't.
No, but I don't use it as a garage.
I've been there, it was used as a garage.
Yes.
There was a
but you
car
could still
parked in there.
Call it a garage.
You could still,
Yeah, that's correct.
you could still call it a, you can.
Follow his lead.
But I've only been there 43 years, and I'm telling you,
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not my fault. I just bought the house 20 years ago.
Right.
and I'm
Right.
telling,
But
43 years ago, we
Just
moved
call it
in there, it
a
was used as a garage. Before Tony moved in. Okay? Now, I don't know. Maybe this is fine. I don't know. But I don't want to get in a position, and God only knows the city's been in that position, where we approve something, then an adjacent property owner sues us. That's all. That's all I'm trying to get straightened away here, Charlie.
So,
What would be the use of the outbuilding?
Storage base.
Storage?
so like,
Storage for what? Construction materials?
in our garage,
That doesn't mean I'm.
in my garage, we actually don't store a car ever.
That's because I can't.
But it is still technically the garage, even though.
Because it was built with that
You
purpose.
could drive a
built
car
to
into it if
be
you
a
could get
garage,
Ken to throw anything
But
out.
now we use it for storage.
You'll see,
So
So you're better off. You're better off just calling
Calling it a garage.
It's divided into sections. Why they
That's
did it like
that's
that,
an
I
easy
don't know.
answer. You'll have
I
less
think
problems.
this building was built first, then they put a shed roof on it to create some additional space.
Yes.
That's what happened. Okay,
Like
that
a
was done a
carport.
long time ago.
Right.
Yeah, they were way
Okay.
years
That
ago.
picture dates back to 84, I can tell you that, in a woman's truck.
Mhm.
I'm going back to 70s, in the
That was
70s.
in 1984, I believe.
Okay. So, just so I understand, we all understand, we're gonna store what in this building?
Stuff.
Construction materials? You gonna run a construction business out of here? Can't do that. I'll point to staff. You cannot run a construction business out of a residential building. Did you know that?
I don't run a construction building, I'm retired once.
Huh?
He's retired.
Well, so whose construction materials are being stored back there?
Yeah, whose construction materials are being stored there?
Oh, the construction material they're using there? That one I wouldn't buy in Plum Beach.
No. The question is, what is going to be in this building when you're
Nothing, just
finished?
for storage. For now.
you're going to use the garage for your personal storage of stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing
Is
new.
that what we understand? There's not going to be a business running out of there.
Retired, I'm
Retired.
He's actually better calling it a shed than a garage.
Yeah.
Garages have more of a setback
Yeah.
now, so
Oh, garage
he's
is
probably better
Okay,
calling it.
shed.
shed. It's
So,
a shed.
so shed is the way to go.
Shed. You're going for a shed.
I love tools and actually what I'm going to
Okay.
do there is food.
Okay.
Okay.
I love
Right.
So it turns
Cool.
out that he is going for a
my
shed.
Shed.
Okay. I think we just need, the question needs to be resolved and with staff.
I think it
Just
has been.
permitted. That's all I'm asking.
I think the staff.
I'm not making a decision. I'm
Right.
just asking the
I
question.
think we just heard from them and said that a garage requires a 3 feet.
Is the existing structure okay as a shed?
Shed,
As a shed,
Yes.
the current zoning requires a 3-foot setback,
yeah.
Okay. What's
Shed.
the setback for a garage?
5 feet.
5 feet.
Oh,
Oh,
five feet.
Oh,
That changed
okay.
up,
So
yeah.
so yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so it looks. Is there 3 feet between the edge of this building and the property line?
I think it is, just for this for away. I mean, we could leave it nicer. I mean, somebody made that foundation prison. You know, when they get that, they get mad. So
Well, it either could have.
he's saying that
Well, either that or either they
care-
didn't follow
They didn't
code,
care back then.
or
Really
they
didn't care
or
back then.
yeah,
Or it
it's now a
preceded
law.
code.
Yes.
So-
Before code.
So unfortunately, because
Kathy, is
you
yours
have
used
to
as a
reconstruct this, you have to follow the new.
Yours a
code.
garage.
So basically,
You got a
what
shed
you're telling me
on the back of yours
that we
also.
would have to tear out the existing foundation, move it
Tear all that down.
I don't know. Let's let the staff decide, Charlie.
I think that
They
would
decide that it's okay. I don't know. We got a lot of issues that might end up in the courtroom, and I don't want that.
Well, could we do a provisional? Yeah, could we do a provisional approval on this based on the idea that if it reaches the 3-foot level for a shed, then we will approve it. If it's
How about if we approve it if it complies with
Code.
code?
There you go.
how's that
And I'll second that.
as a shed?
Jeez.
Okay,
But only if it
complies.
meets
Complies
code.
with code.
Okay.
So, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay, so we have to meet code and we have to,
Mhm.
and put in a new foundation like this is here.
The knee wall, what that, knee wall there?
Yeah.
Yeah. It may be compliant. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's say in fact it isn't. You may have to kick it back. That's all.
Do we have special variances that somebody could come in and say this
They
is
don't want to do that.
that expensive, hard? I don't know. That's really complicated.
You have to go to Plan Commission and
Special
Board of Appeals
exception.
for that, yeah.
Okay, we're trying here, really.
Okay,
All right, so are
We
we
have a
ready to
motion on
vote?
the
Yeah.
table.
we do.
And yet, let me just ask you, you'll let Kathy know what the decision is? You'll let Kathy know?
Sure.
She's the adjoining property owner. Okay, good. They should be able to decide that pretty quick, Carl.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So, Margie, did you make that?
Karen made a motion, I
Okay.
seconded it.
Okay, thank you. All right. Madam Secretary, we have a motion to provisionally approve based on code approval by Ms. Lubinecki, and a second by Ms. McSteeny.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes.
Ms. McSteeny,
Yes.
Council President Liz,
Yes.
Chairman Hayes,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you very much.
Okay. You forgot. You forgot. Good luck,
Charlie,
Miss
I thought you
Frazier.
retired.
You forgot Miss Frazier.
Yes.
I'm not doing anything, I'm just helping you.
And what say you, Ms. Frazier?
I said yes.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Charlie.
Okay. All right, moving on to agenda item number 8. HDC 021 for 42 Avondale Street. Submitted by Gomareza Agadon. Request to install a new 6-foot privacy fence along one side of the rear property. Also requesting to install a new 3.5-foot fence to the front of the property. Both fences will be unpainted, pressure-treated wood.
And this person's not here, correct?
They are not here.
Okay, so in looking at this, there's a note that says that she, I'm going to go with she.
Okay.
I don't know. The owner wants as high a fence as allowed along the right-hand side as you're facing the house to separate it from the
Midway Garage.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
yes.
she's got a major commercial
Which-
property.
I go for that. I mean, it just cannot be.
Aesthetically pleasing.
Yes. Well, I'm going to say aesthetically pleasing. I was going to go with just pleasant to have to look at that all the time. But now I noticed that the older picture is from 19 or is much older. Oh, yeah. Like, when did the house
2012.
looks nothing like
No, it does
it
not.
does now. When did this great, huge transformation transpire? Because it looks like a brand new house. And it looks like they've, ripped the front off or enclosed it or something. I didn't even see all these older pictures. Yeah, it looks absolutely nothing like this.
You're right.
I don't know.
Are you talking about these pictures?
Yes.
They were pulled offline.
Okay. Well, so the current house looks like a little, it doesn't look like that. It's flipped. It's
been HGTV.
Yes, it has. Yes, indeed. It is being flipped or flopped. I mean, it looks like a flip. It looks very, but they've pruned and or removed trees. Maybe they've just pruned. I can't.
No, they removed them. I walked there.
Okay, so they've
The
removed
trees are
them.
all gone.
It's painted. It's got a whole different front. There's no little roof over the
Trees are
front
all
door.
gone.
They took the trees down without permission? Is that
No,
what
they
you're
didn't
saying?
get permission.
Nope. I think they did a lot and then I thought, well, maybe it all happened before I was on here. But if you all don't have newer pictures than this, then they did it without permission. And I don't know. I mean, I would think they would have had to go through a lot of permits to do what they did, yet they never got here. I didn't think to take a picture. Sorry. It looks very, very different.
Okay, that's one issue. The other issue, there should be no junked cars parked on Midway's garage lot. I'll point that out. That's a car repair facility. It's not a junkyard.
Yeah, I don't know that I
And
noticed that. Oh, excuse me.
And all you got to do is go to the tag. They don't have valid tags on their
Right,
junk
yeah.
cars. And code enforcement should be on top of that.
We can look into that.
Yeah, appreciate that.
According to the state website, the applicant is a new owner to this home. Bought it August 29th of 2018.
Flip and
So
flop.
it's hard to predict if
2018?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
2018. Okay, not 8.
So
Wait,
in other words, they bought it.
So
out.
they
just
bought
bought
it
it.
already. It was a flip, not a flop, because they sold their flip.
yeah.
so the previous owners did not come before us? Not the
Correct.
August people, but
They tore the trees down. They did the flipping and the flopping.
Yeah.
And now the new owner has bought it and wants to put the fence up.
Correct.
Okay.
Water under the bridge.
Yes. Okay. Even the fact that they're a new owner, I kind of feel like they need to be here to discuss this with us. So I would move that we don't act on this.
You gonna table it?
Well, we can table it.
I wouldn't turn
We
anything
can-
down. I would
yeah,
table it.
Table it.
table and ask them to come.
So what is it about, what is it specifically that you're concerned about?
Well, I guess if there's a note on here that they want this fence as high as possible, but then in one place it just says 3.5 feet. It's not clear exactly what they want, and I feel like the owner should show up and say, I'd really like a 6-foot fence along this side and a 3.5 foot on this side. I don't feel like it's
So it's not specific enough.
It's not specific enough.
Maybe they can explain where the trees went.
Because
They,
it's-
they came down. Cheryl, they came down this within the last year.
Oh, it's been in the last.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's when the trees came down. I mean, I didn't notice because I don't go down that way, but I did notice the last one. I went down and looked at it. Where's the trees?
Excuse me. So when you say the last few months, since August, you think they've done this?
No, before that. During the summer months. Yeah. that's-
Okay.
somebody flipped it and they flopped it to these
Yeah.
people.
The drawings do show the height of the fencing.
Well, it says as high as, where does it say?
They've written something in there.
And then if you look
48.
under the zoning analysis on the staff report, it tells you exactly
Yeah,
where it's going to be too, the heights.
Oh, okay.
3.5 in front and 6 feet along on side and back. So it'd be 6 feet along the length of the house to the back of the property. And 3.5 feet to 42 inches on the front. Okay. But I still would like them to explain what happened to the trees.
You may not know what happened to the trees.
Well, incumbent upon them, buyer beware.
But that has nothing to do with this.
Yes, it does.
No.
No,
They
it
didn't.
doesn't.
Well,
I don't know that. How do you don't know that they did it? I mean,
Well, we just
Oh,
got
we-
oh,
well, I mean, I think we can ask to have it looked into, but
we're approving something addition to this house. We can tell them plant some more trees. And there's nothing in front of the house now. It's all gone.
But it wasn't a require. I mean, if this was done before the current purchasers
Buyer beware.
purchased the house, to put a requirement on them to plant new trees that someone else took out seems unreasonable
Yeah,
to me.
I
I
agree.
disagree. They're
Imagine-
they're asking for essentially they're erecting a fence, which is part of the site plan. And I think we can, in fact, look at those beautiful trees that are gone.
Now, the normal regulation would say that from the front of the house to the sidewalk, you could not have a 6-foot fence.
Right.
Well,
That's
that's what you
correct.
said, 3.5 feet,
Yeah.
42 inches.
No, that's in front, but they want it the whole side to be 6 feet,
We don't
No,
normally
the-
to
approve
the
that.
front of the house,
which
right?
I,
On the side there where it hits the threshold, it is on it. If you see, it's on the right side and going to the front. There's a portion that is 3.5 feet.
Yeah.
Oh,
And towards
okay.
the rear.
so
is
they're
where it's
following the
gonna be
regs there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
I personally would approve them doing 6 feet all the way across, considering what they're next door to.
Yes.
Well,
But I think if they're willing to do the 3 feet, let's let them.
Yeah.
Let's go with what, since they want to follow the regs, let's not make an exception that they haven't asked for.
Right.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, so we can move this along, I'd like to make a motion that we approve, what's the number here? Sorry, I lost my sheet. That we approve, I'm sorry, what is
That's all
this?
right.
Is this, that we approve HDC 024 for 42 Avondale Street as submitted?
Oh, 21.
Sorry. 021,
Yeah.
sorry.
I will second that.
before we vote, let me ask a question. Does the state record show that anybody owned this for the previous year? Or would they do just float the title on this thing?
The previous owner was Redevelopment Solutions LLC,
And when did they buy it?
June of 2018.
Yeah, so they flipped it.
Mm-hmm. Quickly.
They flipped it and probably took those trees down, never came before us.
And none of us walk by.
And,
Well, my question is, I mean, I assume they renovated this whole house. I mean, they changed the whole look of the house from what it was before, and they never came to the Historic District Commission.
Right.
well, we don't seem to have a way to go back even.
Sure they do.
That-
Sure they do. They can go back to the previous owner. I sold real estate for a long time, got involved in a lot of these arguments.
And what I was meant was we are generally not of the will to go back to a previous owner. And what is the penalty that we're going to make them do?
Well, if you let people get away with it, then they get away with it.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but we don't even go after people who are currently living in the house who have come to us with something and haven't come through with it, let alone somebody who
it
flipped
may be time to draw the line in the sand.
Well, this doesn't look like the one to me to do
It
that.
does to me because of where it is. But again, I've asked my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. Lubinecki, a second by me.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes.
Chairman Hayes,
Yes.
Council President Les,
No.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Ms. McStaney,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
I will ask that you ask code enforcement to get rid of the junk cars off that lot.
Noted.
Different issue completely, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said, I think that's a totally different issue, but absolutely fine. I have
Thank
no
you, appreciate
objection.
that.
Okay. This is a cool night.
A little excitement for a change.
All right. Next on the agenda, agenda item number 9, HDC 022-2019 for 509 Montgomery Street, submitted by Alan Rockline, requesting to install new windows on the entire structure. Currently, the windows are white wood with grids. He's requesting new windows to be replaced with the same sizes as existing with white vinyl, but no grids.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like a correction on here. Those are not wooden windows. Those are
Those are
metal.
metal.
They're metal. They are not wooden.
They're metal casement windows.
Okay.
And I'm not Alan Rockline, I'm Barry Robbins.
Okay.
I'm a contractor.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
He's not able to be here tonight, and he expresses his regret.
Okay.
Is there any reason to avoid grid?
Say it again.
Is there any reason to avoid grids?
Yes.
What is it?
Well, first of all, he wants to change the windows from the casement type style
Right.
that they are now to double hungs, which would go up and down.
Uh-huh.
I have a sample if you'd like to see it.
And they're going to be very wide double hungs.
Are you
Just on the front they are.
Yeah.
well, are you considering doing two windows in the front for those spaces, or just are
No,
you?
just one.
Well, funny you should say that, because
Can I hand
I actually agree with Ms. Frazier that the front windows, which are 49 and a half inches, which is an enormously wide space.
This is a house.
Right. Well, I also went to one of the older houses too. That yes, and they have two windows there for those. And in fact, over on
That's why he didn't want it.
well, in fact, yes, but the single one is going to look.
May I suggest that if you did 6/6 grid, that it would look very much like what's there now.
The only problem with that is that the building is not centrally air conditioned, so it takes window units. And when you put a window unit in it, which stays in all year round, the bottom sash comes up. So those grids, and they never overlap each other. It just would look jumbled.
Right. What
You're
actually?
going to put air conditioners in the front?
Probably.
I
They're in
believe
the
so.
back
yeah.
now.
Well, the units all want air conditioning. I mean, I assume
Oh,
that's why you did
absolutely.
not
Yeah.
want to do casements, is because you didn't. But if you looked over on Upper Main Street, just before, and the buildings that are not historic, they also had clearly the same width and have put in the doubles, and they look. I actually think here they look perfectly fine, and I think the 50-inch with one window is really an odd proportional window.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
They do make. It looked to me like because you had an email in there from
60.
you're doing
So
Champion
this is
Windows. Is that
36
correct?
No, I'm Champion Siding Windows. They're Simonton windows.
Okay. An option for you would be to put grids on the top, so you'd have 3/3 and then open below. Here.
I know
Well,
exactly.
yeah, the top, what you're suggesting, I think, is the top would be 6 lights.
6 lights, right? And then you
Correct.
still have the open, so when you somebody puts a unit in, it doesn't just.
In talking to the owner, just to let you know his views on that, he doesn't want that. He'd rather have it no grids.
Well, he may not have a
That's-
choice.
I understand that. So I'm
Okay.
just
The reason is,
conveying his words.
yeah, and what you're talking about is aesthetics, and all of those of us that live in the historic district, we've probably either repaired or replaced our windows, and they're usually. I mean, I know mine are pretty big double hung, but I don't put window air conditioners in at this point. I did originally only had them on the back, but
I found it was easier just to basically remove that bottom part of the window and put a real frame in there. If you're not going to ever, if that air conditioning is in there permanently, then you would never have a need for that window that moves up and down. It would always be in the up position. So why not just get rid of it?
I mean, that's certainly a possibility. But I'm looking at your own structure, and the owner has clearly replaced the front door with the lights. Correct. That's a newer door.
I can't answer that. I
Right.
have no
Well,
idea.
I went over and walked the building today, and the front is clearly, and not brand new, but newer. I mean, it's clearly not the original, which has actually grids in it now.
Mm-hmm.
And to be clear, we're not touching that.
No, I understood that. But that's the aesthetic you've also established for your own structure. I am personally more concerned about the fact that you want to put one huge window for those 4 big windows. I mean,
In the
those
front,
really,
yeah.
in the front, that really calls for 2 windows there. I mean, there's just,
Or 6/6. The
Well,
air conditioners.
That's 2 different things.
Mhm.
I don't know that he'd have any problem with changing those from single to 2 double hungs. I have no idea if he'd have any problem with that. I don't have any problem with it. I don't have any problem with anything you say.
I understand.
6, the 6 lights, basically it's called 6/0.
Right.
I can
If it
present
were-
that to him. I've offered that to him, and he's said so far that no, he would have to rethink the project if that's the case.
Excuse me. So would he ever, you're saying that the window units are in there year round, they don't go in and out?
They're on the back of the,
So-
they're on the back of the building.
So,
Back and
right,
side.
so they would never
They're not on
be
the
in the
front.
front?
I think sides in the back.
Yeah, but they're
Right.
not in the front of the building.
I'm not sure about that. I don't know really. I think you're correct in that I
Yeah,
haven't seen
yeah,
them.
okay.
I've only
Oh,
been
that
there a
was-
couple of times
right, was my
myself.
question.
In the pictures, it shows them on the sides and the back.
Right.
So I think our main concern is the front.
Yes.
Because the windows also aren't as wide on the sides. I mean, clearly.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, it's the front part that has the most impact on the neighborhood also. I certainly understand why you want to get rid of casements. I mean, those are very rusted and they haven't been, casements are a problem. And unless you want to put new casements in, you got to do something else.
He doesn't want
I
casements.
understand.
Right.
I think finally cut down that.
So I think.
Actually, the hedge isn't even there anymore, is it?
Correct. So sounds to me like we want 12 panes in these windows, or 12 lights, or whatever you
In
want
the
to
front.
So you're saying in the bottom also?
But two
Yes.
windows. I mean,
No, it doesn't have to be 2 windows.
I actually think that if you look at all the other buildings that are that size of the opening, they all have 2 windows in there.
That might be, but 6/6 would look exactly like what you're seeing there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I actually think the 2 windows is a more logical solution, and aesthetically, I think the one big window, that is also one big window that somebody's then raising up. Becomes a potentially heavy and difficult window to open. Is what you really. I mean, to me, opening up a 50-inch window is a big window. I mean, think about that. That's a really big window to open, as opposed to a client or the tenant who might be able to then put a unit. If you have the 2 windows in there, if they want to put a unit in the front, are the units a tenant? Is it only
He owns them.
he owns the units?
The landlord owns them. Yes.
Owns the air conditioning unit. Okay, this is not tenant decision. Like, I want to air condition my room more, so I put another air conditioning in. Okay. Has he thought of centrally air conditioning the building? But not your issue, I know.
No.
But you're saying the owner does not want 1/1.
No, he does want 1/1.
He wants 1/1.
Right. The owner wants 1/1. We do not want 1/1
Okay.
in any way, shape, or form.
See, I could live with
Correct.
1/1 if it was 2 windows in the front.
I think that would
Which would be
drastically change
well,
the look of the building.
I do too.
That's done a little bit further down the street, which is the photo that I just dropped off to you there. Very similar building where there are no grids whatsoever.
which
Okay.
may have been, that building may have had no grids originally.
Right.
That was done, according to
We
what
don't know.
to my research, it was only done about 10 years ago.
But again, we don't,
Personally, I think the 6/0 is fine. But I really strongly believe that 2 windows in front.
so I'm going to remind you how I open the meeting. Each application heard today is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing a precedent for any other application. So that means whatever happened with that building was not a precedent, period.
Okay.
And you're wishing the owner had come.
No, you don't want him here. Trust me.
Okay. So, where are we, Mr. Chair?
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
I think there's a general consent. What I'm hearing, and let's start where we all agree. We all agree that one big window, 1/1, is not going to work. Okay, I think we're so. The question is, what?
And you are just referring to the front, to be clear,
I think so.
Yes.
I
at
think
this point.
I mean, I really strongly believe in the 2 windows. I mean, just from an individual standpoint. I mean, seriously, do you really want to open a 50-inch double?
Depends
hung
on
window?
how well made it is.
Right. And that,
An old wooden one that wide, no. But the new ones, yeah,
Plastic
Yeah.
is pretty
be
heavy.
fine.
I know our big windows are tough.
I could
Yeah,
not.
so-
I could not approve unless it was a 6/6. If it was a single one, I mean, otherwise it's just going to look just weird. And he has the lights in there, in the door. I mean, you got basically.
And 6/6 as one window would be a lot less costly than 2.
correct.
So may I make a suggestion for a compromise for us? Okay.
Please.
You don't quite know what the owner is going to say, correct?
Sort of, but not quite.
What if we offered him one of 2? He has 2 options. He could do 2 windows with like 3/3 with the 0 below, right? We're just talking about the front right now, okay?
Mhm.
Or one big one that is the full light 6/6.
Sounds reasonable to me.
How does that sound to the?
well, what's 3/3?
Yeah.
Well, that's the
Well, no, it still would be 6/6.
6/6. So,
Yeah.
so we offer him 2 options.
The middle one would be 4/4.
Correct.
I got that part.
So what
Similar to the way it is now. I
terms
think
of
what you're
counting
suggesting
things,
is
right.
changing them all to one window, double hungs, 6/6 or the one 4/4,
Mm-hmm.
or changing it to 2 in the 4 larger windows, changing it to 2 double hungs
with
Side by side.
3/3,
side by side, of course.
3/3, and then
What is
0 on the
3/3? I
bottom.
don't understand the 3/3. Can you draw me a picture?
I can show you a picture.
Okay.
That's just the grid stuff is on the top only, not.
3/0.
Yeah,
that's what-
three,
Oh,
that's,
okay.
Or
that's what
6
I'm-
over
Yeah,
0.
I'm
right?
I'm
That's
not good with the
You-
over 0.
But if you have 2 windows, you can have 3/0.
Yeah.
Well, it'll still look like
It's
it.
6/0. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
How does that-
actually, it probably would end up being 4.
Yeah.
2 and 2 and 2 in each
Right,
one.
Right,
So
That might get
4/0.
a little-
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, that was my comment, that we let the owner, we give him the 2 options and say you can pick one of these 2. But the 0, but the one big window with nothing isn't going to cut it.
Okay.
I mean, I can't go with anything over 0. I like
yeah, I agree.
the 6/6, I think, is what I feel needs to stay.
As one single window,
Single
Or-
window, 6/6.
but not 2
Or
doubles.
2 windows, 4/.
That changes. That's not an or for me.
That's a cluttered look,
Yeah.
actually. That's a very cluttered look. It works okay for the window above the door, obviously, because that's a narrower
Narrow.
window.
Uh-huh.
But I can't see, because you're not just, you're actually splitting, down the middle of that row down the middle. You're splitting that when you're changing.
Or you could make them
and you're
two over-
changing
you
the
could make
size
them-
of the window.
What would actually go well in the neighborhood is 2 over 2. There's a lot of 2 over 2 in the neighborhood.
2 over 2 being 2 windows and each window having 1 over 1. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
she's saying 2 over 2, 2 over 2.
So
Right.
basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3,
That would
4.
be cluttered.
Not more than 6 over 6.
Can I point out to you that if you're going to do the 2 windows where they are mulled together, that ends up about 4.5 inches wide. So that
That's in
adds
this
to the
other
look.
picture.
And I caution you on that because
So you're even reducing
Yeah.
the size even smaller.
I mean, I could
well,
act-
you're
see, I could
reducing it
actually
smaller
live with
and
nothing.
it.
I could live with 0 over, with nothing if there were the 2 windows, because then you're getting some definition because of the 2 windows, which is what some of these other places have.
Right.
And I actually, if you look, like I say, if you looked at the one I was looking at before.
I assume with the 50-inch window, the owner doesn't want air conditioners in front of the building.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's trying to rent these things.
Right.
So
Because that's like the one on
then
that's Main Street.
Then what we have
That's the one on
now,
Upper Main
air
Street.
conditioning's on the side and the back of the building.
Correct.
Okay.
That's just that's 2 windows, but which is similar to the one that you showed us. It just has shutters on it,
Yeah,
which, by the way,
yeah.
looks fun.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand what you're saying in terms of not having any grids, because if these had grids, they would look very
Right.
cluttered.
But because there's 4 windows, you already get a grid, essentially. I mean, because there's 2 windows.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. Do you get that?
She's saying that there are 2 windows and it's 1 over 1 on each window.
And so it
Right,
looks like
so
a
it
grid.
looks kind of like a
So
grid.
It ends up looking like a grid. It really does. Actually.
Right. Well, how about this as a we offer the owner the possibility of the 2 windows that are 0 over 0, which are just the basic double hung like that. Or this is basically what you've shown us, and you said he doesn't really like that, but okay,
And that's in the front.
in the front. Okay,
Which is.
what you're saying, except that put 2 windows in instead of 1. Okay, instead of 1 window here, it's 2 windows.
Let me suggest, if you've got the 50-inch window, I'm going to say what I said before, that precludes the people putting an air conditioner on. Because that 50-inch opening they've got to fill. I mean, I don't care what they do on the back and the side of the building. That's where the air conditioners are now.
Right.
Okay, but I think from the owner's perspective, if I were the owner, I wouldn't want any air hanging out of the building.
I haven't seen it, and I think
Right. Well, but I still
think you're
understand
actually
casements are a problem for many issues. But
As you can see by these pictures.
So that said, I would go with the 50-inch window, single window, with 6 over 6, just on those 4 windows in front. The 4.
And the 5th being
That-
single window, but
4 over 4.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever looks good to the
Yeah.
person that's making the window.
I think the 150 is just a bad idea. Aesthetically, I think it's just a weird.
But it's going to
Weird-
look exactly
it will
like
look-
that.
Yeah, aesthetically, it's going to be the same look, but it may be a little, more of a burden on the homeowner to maintain.
resident.
It's not too bad because I do a lot of residential
Yeah.
that are that size.
Okay.
It's not so bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I would like to move that we approve this with the provision that the grids stay the same.
On the
Just
4
on the
windows,
front.
the 4 windows in the front.
5.
Well, 5 windows in the front.
The 5
The
windows
middle one being
okay.
4 over 4.
in the front, yes. And then on the sides and the back,
They don't have to have any grid.
I would like grids in the top. Oh, no. Yeah, with no grids.
Okay.
Yes. Replace 34 windows as presented. The 5 on the front, however, need to match the grids as they are now.
Okay.
For HDC 022-2019.
I second that.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve as amended by Ms. McSeany, seconded by Ms. Frazier.
Ms. McSeany?
Yes.
Ms. Frazier?
Yes.
Council President Liz?
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki?
Yes.
Chairman Hayes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
patience.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Agenda item number 10, HDC 027-2019 for 310 4th Street, submitted by Michael and Cheryl Dyer, requesting to remove 2 mulberry trees from the front of the property.
As your reward for sitting through all of this, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the removal of the 2 horrendous, pain in the rear end mulberry trees.
You don't want to know about the 10 trees that are in my front yard and side yard and how big they're going to be.
I know that you've planted a whole bunch of trees because I have lived through a good bit of the selection and recommendation process.
I second that motion.
Okay, Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. McSeany, second from Ms. Lubinecki.
Ms. McSeany?
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki?
Yes.
Council President Liz?
Yes.
Ms. Frazier?
Yes.
Chairman Hayes?
Yes.
Motion
Yahoo.
carries.
Thank you very much.
But wasn't this entertaining?
There you go, educational. Agenda item number 11, 025-2019 for 605 Main Street, submitted by Christina Curvin and Victor Thomas, request to install 1 window sign on the storefront for a cigar shop.
Yes. That's 604 Main Street.
Yes, correct.
Did I say that?
No, you said 605.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, 604. Okay. And I'm presuming this meets all the...
The one question I had was about the illuminated open sign. That's not in your request.
I actually didn't know that needed to be in the request.
They all do.
Yes.
I apologize for that.
That's okay.
We just put it up, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago or something like that. So I apologize. I didn't
Okay.
know that was.
When I
'Cause
was
it was-
looking at it, that's where the sign you've requested is supposed
Absolutely,
to go.
that
and,
makes sense.
You know.
Sure. For some reason, I didn't think internal signage was included, but that's fine.
Yeah,
Thank you
there
for
are some
clarifying.
requirements that in terms of setting back from the window and that sort of thing.
Understood. I apologize for that.
So I think it's a handsome logo, and I move we approve your sign.
Thank you very much.
I don't want you to suffer anymore.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just because we haven't met.
But I learned a lot. I have an appreciation for what you guys do.
Thank you.
I do.
Do I have a second?
A second?
Yes.
I second.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. McSeany and a second by Ms. Lubinecki.
Ms. McSeany?
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki?
Yes.
Council President Liz?
Yes.
Ms. Frazier?
Yes.
Chairman Hayes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Can we ask Miss Wirt not to have to get up?
I'm ready for a break.
Oh, good for you. Please step forward. We have before us, finally, agenda item number 12, HDC 026-2019 for 712 Main Street, submitted by Scarlett Wirt. Request to remove 17 dying and diseased leyland trees from the front, back, and sides of the property. Not confirmed with replacement trees. Okay. What's going on?
Okay, so I purchased the property in 2006, and the previous owner had ringed the entire back and side of the property with 68 Leland cypress trees. If you've seen the property, you can't quite imagine that, but yes, there were 68. So there are 17 remaining. I've been working assiduously to get rid of these over the years. They've all been replaced when I put in a fence in a garage, all permitted. So there are 17 left. Some of them are there are 3 or 4 on the back facing Heath Alley, which abuts the middle school, St. Mary's. There are 9 along the Miller's Alley, and then there are 3 that face Main Street. They're planted about 3 feet apart. They're probably 30 feet tall now, and they're just dying like crazy. And of course, they're growing out into the alleys and such. So they need to go.
And I see where the arborist has said that they should be removed.
Yes. They're not anything that should ever have been planted there in the first place. They were a nice, quick screen, I'm sure, but they quickly got out of hand.
Well, perhaps if they hadn't planted 68 and had planted them appropriately.
It's a lot.
They grow probably 2 feet a year, and so it would have been fine height-wise, but there's no way to contain that width of the things. They would have grown out into the alleys regardless.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm fine with removing trees you don't like. My concern is because they're so dense. Are you going to feel exposed? I guess.
Right.
And are you? What?
That's a really good question. What I have found is I've changed things. Is it's hard to know sometimes when you pull something out what it's going to feel like. I expect my intent right now is to plant something more appropriate on the front side there.
Okay.
It's set way back from the street. Something screening, but not massive trees. To do something probably tall but thin on the back where the school is. And then I'm not sure about Heath Alley because that's going to really open that up. And, you've got Pat and Gary's yard there that's pretty. And so I might not do
I mean, the reason I ask is that I had 10 trees cut down that were quite far apart in my yard, and it feels very exposed,
Is that recent?
So a year ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since I've walked by your yard for years. It's kind of a model that I aspire to.
Oh, you're talking about my mother's house.
Yes, I am.
So not her yard.
Okay, I
live on
assumed you
Prince
lived there
George
too.
Street. I did for a while. No, the goal is for me not to live there for the time being. So I move that we approve her HDC 26/2019 to remove all the Leyland cypress and give you a little breathing room.
I second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. McSeany and a second by Ms. Frazier.
Ms. McSteeny?
Yes.
Ms. Frazier?
Yes.
Council President Liz?
I'm going to vote yes, but let me just say this. When he cuts the trees down, if he finds borers,
If he finds what?
find borers.
Borers.
They found them on our property in all 4 trees. They have to dispose of that differently.
Okay.
Just so you're aware of that.
I'll make sure he knows. I expect
I'm sure he
but
does.
I will tell him just to be sure.
They just have, it can't go into the regular place where they take the stuff.
Right.
Okay. Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki?
Yes.
Chairman Hayes?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much
Thank
for coming
you.
in. Best
Nice
of
to
luck.
meet you.
Yeah,
Yes.
all of that.
Finally.
Yes.
Okay.
Many times.
We have the list of staff approvals that everyone has already seen. I assume we're good there. Agenda item number 13, really, is new business. Do we have any new business?
Yeah, let me raise the issue with Brooke. Brooke, did the resident next to Ruth Ann Hyde on 6th Street get a permit for the new porch and roof?
Oh.
Is she going to get credit for that? I don't think we had, well.
That was staff approval.
Yeah, it was falling apart, so...
Yeah, I know, it was falling down.
Yeah, so we did a staff approval on it, and she's going to do everything in kind.
Everything will be exactly the same. I want to make sure she gets the credit.
Yes.
That woman needs it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
After I drove by and told her to report it, I didn't realize it had been staff approved.
Well, this is really old business. I thought, or new. So, we going to get together and discuss some kind of, well, a couple things. One, you mentioned in the past that there were monies available. Perhaps we could use this out mailers to residents in the historic district, something like that. Note ourselves and make our residents aware that.
Yes, there is. And that's from the Maryland Association of Historic Districts. Yeah, what we need is probably a work session, because the other thing that we've been asked to discuss is the list of historic designated properties in Laurel, other than, the historic.
Historically significant problem.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a good list, actually. I can get this to everyone, and then I'll sort of look at the calendar and see. I assume we can meet here in one of the meeting rooms.
Yeah, just need to tell the staff.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll make arrangements.
All right. Great.
I don't know if did other people see the Laurel TV section that they did on the historic district? I did see that. They did a piece kind of talking about the historic district, which is very good, except they forgot to mention the tax credit. That's actually the incentive, because you were talking more about the process. I actually listened twice to make sure I didn't miss that, which is really good. And maybe we can do more of those on at some point. That would be more of a, here's what works for why this is a good window, this is a bad window, this is a good this or a bad. But I thought it was a really good introduction to the HDC, and I was glad to see Laurel TV do that.
I didn't see it.
Excellent.
Well, that's because you also don't have Facebook. So it was. I saw it through Facebook. So, but I can share it with folks.
Paul.
I can go watch it online.
Yes,
I don't think that one. I don't think that
it's
one.
on YouTube.
It's on
It's on
YouTube.
YouTube.
It's on the YouTube
It's on
channel,
the city's
yeah.
YouTube channel.
Okay, so we can look it up and I can share it with the Old Town listserv.
Great
Cool.
idea.
That'll be a way. That's good.
Okay,
Excellent.
thank you. We adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone. That was fun.
I have to say, I think